Now, this might be a little controversial to say, but I do believe that some of the sexual assault cases that you hear about in our community as Black and brown folk stems from some of us being descendants from those who were enslaved, by which generations ago, Black slaves were forced to impose themselves on each other by the master. Because, yes, the master, the slave master, was that fucking sick, by which a great deal of that generational trauma, right, has traversed itself and conditioned us and the generations after for some of us. And since society has yet to properly mitigate that trauma, right, a lot of us are still walking with that, like in either perhaps in our DNA, learned behavior, and or what have you, without actually healing from it, right? And it's not like, there are flyers on street poles while you're walking on the sidewalk everywhere that says, hey, are you a descendant from slavery looking to heal your trauma? Hmm. Come to this in place, such and such to get your healing. Like, that's not a thing. And since a lot of Black churches, which I find very unsettling, do not talk about the Christian influence on slavery, and do not, for some strange reason, even though you are literally Christian, don't talk about that trauma. I think this further reinforces that generational, like, trauma repeating itself, because we're not talking about it, and we're not talking about it on a major scale, right? Could you imagine, nigga? I know right now in Dixwell Hamden, CT, right? There, I've counted this shit. If you go from Morning Star Church, right, all the way up to maybe like the Hamden Plaza. Not even actually. You actually, like, if you go from the Morning Star to just a few blocks, there are 16 churches total. I can bet money how many of those churches are talking about the generational trauma connected to Christian slavery from the European household. I will fucking wait, nigga. And so, because it's not being talked about, and a lot of Black and brown folk, and especially in the hood, do not like to talk about these things that happen, right? It goes unmitigated and unhealed. And that doesn't help because the society at large, right, even outside of that history, right, already condones men's entitlement to a woman's body, right? Whether it be through antiquity, whether it be through scripture, whether it be through how men preach about women, myths about women, etc., etc. The lack of education about women is what at large contributes to a man saying that if you would wear something different, then you wouldn't get assaulted. And that's sick.